doing?
Well, I was going to record while you were just mumbling to yourself over there. But then it took too long and you turned around.
No, I'm not mumbling anymore.
School year's over. Board's empty. Oh, that one's not empty.
I only got one more thing.
I don't know if it's on me. Captain's log. I started off the Missouri trip with Captain's log hour 0 or whatever, and I never said it again. Oh, this is the
shit.
Captain's log.
Are we captains?
This is so sad. We never interviewed me after the AMP show. I remembered that was something that we were going to do, but we never did it.
State your name.
DISEnsemble president, chairperson, administrative assistant, captain.
Captain.
Melissa Dang.
What's your experience been with this ensemble? Has it been a good one?
Oh no. No, before I was just like, oh, Dr. P's so cool. But DISEnsemble's loud, it's like really experimental, it's not my kind of thing. And then I joined it for beeps and gigs.
For beeps and
for
gigs.
beeps and gigs. Because it was the iconic semester when Dr. Cox was on sabbatical.
That was a good time to join.
And I
All right, now everybody give us the finger, okay?
one panic attack later.
So you had a panic attack.
I did have a panic attack, but that's
Ensemble
okay.
induces panic attacks.
It sometimes, especially for the therapy majors, I will say, because it is very overwhelming.
No juice.
Well, I think it's the cord then, because I just used my charger.
I think it's the brick, I think.
I've charged that before with my...
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Alright, well, we're recording again. Alright, we're back up and running.
I wonder if it lost that footage, but I started crying.
Nope.
Is that really what happened? I thought you Actually, no. I think this is what happened. So I had my panic attack, and then sometime before the next rehearsal, you emailed me saying, you know, there's a lot of people in DISEnsemble. It'd be really nice if there was someone who could do more administrative duties. And then you're like, would you be interested in doing that instead of playing in the ensemble? And I said, yes.
But it worked out really well.
It did work out really well.
When you get to the size of the numbers and the complexity of what DISEnsemble is, you need someone else. This is beyond the scope of like what one person can accomplish. Really.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be somebody else
Mm-hmm.
running things, and I think that's actually a good thing that we should investigate as music tech professionals. At least as a music tech program, we should get into this problem and say, because if you look at the history of the orchestra, every time a new instrument was invented, it would find its way into the orchestra. Brought it in when the violins were sort of standardized. Invented a new kind of tuba. There's a tuba called a Wagnerian tuba because he was the first one to use it. Wagner was the first one to use it in an orchestra, and now it's a standard piece of it's a standard instrument. So each major composer was known for integrating a new piece into the ensemble. And then you hit the 20th century with saxophones and electronic instruments, and they attempted that. The orchestra people said, "No way, get out." And that was around the same time that orchestras started to die. What if it died and then it came back? Was resurrected? What would it be if it hadn't continued to innovate? What would an orchestra look like today?
Mm-hmm.
And we've actually ditched the idea that we have a set plan for who's going to be in it. Actually, so it's more about who walks in the door.
Mm-hmm. And then who leaves after
Yeah.
the first couple rehearsals.
Yeah, and it's sort of accepting of instrumental diversity. You have the same problems. You still need. It occurred to me at some point when I was talking to Zek, I was like, we still need section leaders. We still need like somebody to be in charge of the drum section, and that's Drew.
Which we kind of like. It's not official, but it's like.
But
it's there.
That's how I that's how I interact with them. Is that Drew's in charge of percussion.
So you don't play the last quarter of rest.
Well,
You don't only think it. It's before rests and then 3.
I'm not sure where we're gonna be versus where you are in that 4/4. Just kind of like you know, wherever you line up in that measure.
Right.
You know, and that's how I react with Zek. He's in charge of that whole table of people. You know, the people in the middle, it's a little more nebulous. You know, but I mean. Yeah, so I mean, like, you know, by the end of the semester, we've sort of ended, like, you know, with, like, sections, like, where like, an orchestra would begin.
Yeah, but everyone's leaving.
Well, we'll begin again next semester and just kind of, like,
start over. But look how far I've come. I used to be scared to ask people what their names were.
No joke, she was really terrified to talk to people. And you might have noticed there were some people who never got talked to in this class because Melissa didn't know their names. Yes.
I knew who was. I just I remember I never knew.
That guy.
Look at us now. I'm friends with both of them. Besties even.
Yeah.
This ensemble's great. Everyone should join it.
You've done well.
Thanks.
Yeah. What bearing do you think DISEnsemble has had or will have on your future as a music therapist?
I don't know. I think one of the biggest things that DISEnsemble taught me was how a big group works together. I feel like I always say, like, that's my go-to answer for, like, anything, but in any group setting that I've worked in or just been a part of, it's always taught me something new about humans and connection. Community.
Yeah, and that's probably more important these days. Like, you know, people have been talking about the friend crisis. You know, like basically the crisis of people your age not having friends.
Oh.
You know, like just not making friends.
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't know where I'm gonna be after school. Like, cause I think a lot of the big struggle is people are, like, everyone's got their own things, like they're working or like they just don't have time to make those connections, and it's just kind of scary to like go up to random people, like, and it's just, I don't know. It's easier to build community and make friends when you see people all the time.
Well, that carries forward into life, though. I mean, you know, the people you know will be the people you work with. It's one of the reasons why you don't want to work with a bunch of
I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want to spend outside time with people that I work with because I already see them enough. Cause, like, and I think that's another reason why I like DISEnsemble so much, because it's like it exposed me so much to music technology and like all of the music technology kids, like they're all adults, and the music technology people, and it just gave me a new appreciation for the other part of the program that I didn't get too much experience with before because of the pandemic and everything.
Yeah, I've heard many people say that. I think this is probably true of the other ensembles as well, but I think it might be especially true of DISEnsemble that many people I've heard say that all of their friends they met like in DISEnsemble, or like their best friends, you know, they met in DISEnsemble. You know, it's just because, you know, like it's like a lot of work. It's fun, but it's not always fun, you know, so like you do have like sort of trying times where like, you know, you're just like, oh damn it, we have to like do this really tough thing, you know, so there's like a common problem, there's a common goal, you know, and we all have to like just shut up and get it done, you know, but then there's also a lot of like downtime where like you're just standing there waiting for somebody to sound check, and we're just like, you know, like let's just goof off. And
it's a lot of working together though. And like, yeah, I met my best friends in DISEnsemble.
What's the toughest part about being in DISEnsemble?
You know, things that are in our control, or...
Yeah. Oh, you mean like people changing the plan
I
on
think
us at the last minute? This has been a specifically tough semester, like logistically.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that the first rehearsals were really rough this time around. They're usually not that rough because we come in and it's like the more experienced students know what they're looking at.
But then everyone was like a fish out of water.
Yeah,
in Campus
and
Center.
also thinking about the Sonic trip, like, you know, I knew, like, man, this one really, like, thinking about that ahead of time, I was like, when I was sitting there, like, you know, the end of, you know, the fall semester, I was like, I was planning this thing, and I was like, okay, if we're going to Mock Sonic, we gotta, like, really be professional. We gotta have, like, none of this, like, we're changing everything every 5 minutes, you know. And then, like, everything, like, all our plans just, like, went to the moment the semester began, so. And then they continued to go to for weeks.
Yeah, but I think that's a thing to say about DISEnsemble. Like, it's so... As much as it sucked, like, we always figured it out, and we're always flexible. Well, okay, don't add this in, because then they're like, oh, we'll take more advantage of them in the future, because they'll always figure it out. This is just... this is between you and me. Yeah. This ensemble is very flexible, and, like, they're all troopers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but the toughest part of being in DISEnsemble.
Yeah.
I guess it is hard when there are so many people. Like, I think, especially at the beginning, it's hard to get into a groove, which I think is common for, like, everything. But it's just because there's so many, like, there are people who are used to it, but then there's also a bunch of new people, and then everyone's just trying to find their place, I guess. And, like, for new people especially, it is hard to get used to what DISEnsemble is, because it's very improv based. Like, I show anyone the pieces that we do, and they're like, how do you play that? What is that? It looks like someone just drew on a piece of paper.
And that is what it is.
It is what it is. But it's just people figuring out how they interpret it and how they want to play it.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't want to play.
But you have, though, you know, I mean, you know, in this past semester, I mean, you ended up playing instruments periodically. And you ended up conducting.
I did conduct, which was really scary. Like, you in the video, probably, like, you can see me go like... I just said it as a joke, and then he was like, do you actually? And I said, kind of, but I'm scared. And then I look at the piece, and there's no time signature, there's no key signature, there's not even any measures on it. So I was like, what do I do?
Yeah. Well, I think that, you know, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if everybody feels like they're doing something a little bit outside of their own comfort zone, then, you know, then it's a worthwhile experience. And I can't think of anybody who's, like, solidly just sitting in their own comfort zone. You know, like, I feel like everybody's out of it, including myself.
He was like, I want to say this without crying. He said, you have a gift of bringing people together, and you've built a community here, and that'll still be here after you leave. And it's really because of DISEnsemble. This video is not gonna go anywhere. This is so embarrassing. This is the second time I've cried.
Totally going on the internet.
I should have turned around.
Oh my goodness. What do you think DISEnsemble's biggest problem is? Like, man, if we could just fix this one stupid thing about DISEnsemble, like, find somebody else to teach it.
All the different cables, like, I could, if someone asked me for a 1/4 inch to an XLR, like, I could do that now.
Wow.
Even though I probably was supposed to learn that in, like, music tech. This is technology, and, like, someone is manipulating how it sounds so that it sounds the best. And, like, there's someone who knows how to do that.
Yeah.
And, like, that's just, like, blows my mind.
It's kind of like magic, yeah.
So I've learned a lot in DISEnsemble. And, like, being surrounded by experimental music, too, just kind of opened my eyes, I guess.
So,
You couldn't get rid of me.
And
Even
then
then I was thinking about it too. Like even before I was officially in DISEnsemble, like I would come.
Did you?
Yeah. I've recorded stuff.
I remember that's you would just sort of pop in and be like, here's this, do this.
Yeah.
So that's I mean, it's the same thing as like us finding gear wherever we find it. It's like people too.
I'm just another piece of equipment.
You're just another piece of equipment. There it is. This is the last one. It's over. Well, it's been a wonderful time.
It has been a wonderful time.
You've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. We laughed. We cried. We cried. It became
I
a part of
cried.
us. We laughed. You cried. I laughed. I cried. It became a part of me. So
It did become a part of me.
Thanks for all your work.
Always.
Yeah, and we'll
Have lunch on Thursday.
We'll have lunch. Rachel.
And I'll cry then too. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yep. Sweet. Okay.
Oh man, I'm normally not on this side.
And cut. Here it is. What's up?
I'm back.
What's going
kind
on
of,
with you?
Not actually. I am Melissa Dang, MTBC.
What does that mean?
It stands for Music Therapist Board Certified. So I'm a board certified music therapist now. My first day is tomorrow, and I came to visit.
You're here in this labyrinth.
In the new DISEnsemble room, or ensemble, the new mat.
Yeah,
room.
whatever it's called now.
We have more room.
You just stopped by to show Chloe what's up, right?
Yeah.
Show her the ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I took the ropes from her.
Yeah. Picked up the reins.
They were given to you. They were
Thank you.
passed on.
I took
So what had actually happened in this
Apparently
video?
it's not a panic attack.
It
You've been
was-
lying this whole time?
No, we say I was close to a panic attack. So I had my panic attack. But then just to explain it faster, we just call it a panic attack. But it wasn't. I just got really close to crying because I was really stressed out. But I calmed down before it actually turned into a panic attack. Panic attack.
This entire time I've been convinced that you had some traumatic experience your first show and that's why you always recorded.
No, it was just what had happened
What else
was
have you been lying to us about?
so it wasn't a panic attack, it was just a moment of very high stress. Yeah.
And that's what my teaching does to people.
Panic attack.
I loved my first day at DISEnsemble. I was like, I get to do whatever I want as long as it's not stupid. Okay.
As long as it is stupid.
No, it's yeah.
Like and subscribe for vlogs that may or may not come out every week.
I feel judged.
Join me next time for another intriguing edition of Unsolved
DISEnsemble.